Oh, it has started. Can you just stop the...
Pardon? Okay, now I can. I've seen the video now. I'm seeing myself now.
All right, we're actually live everywhere. Can you try and we have guys coming in. Hello, everyone. We have a small little technical issue. We'll be starting in a second. Can you try and make me put my camera on?
Okay, how do I put your camera on? Should I make you host?
Okay, just make me the host. Let me see what.
Okay. I made you host now.
Oh, I'm on. All right, I think you're on as well.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I think we can just start. The others, I'm not sure what's happening with the cams.
So for me, it's saying that mine is disabled.
All right, so we actually have people entering the conversation now. Sorry, guys, we are having a small little technical hitch that we're sorting out with our cameras. All right, Tosh, I'm going to make you the host as well, and maybe you can try do the same thing, and then you can now give me back the host. It seems that got Naitemo on. We can do that for the rest, and we can begin in the next 2 minutes. Is that fine, Tosh?
Yeah, that's fine.
All right, so you be the host, put your camera on, then you give it back to me.
Okay.
You're on now, Tosh. There you go. You can give me back the host. The street hacks.
Yeah?
I'm saying these are hacks right here. All right. Can you make me the host again?
Okay, let me try.
I want to get Cyprian and Unboxed Africa on.
Why can't, let me see. Now you have it back.
All right, thank you. So I hope you can put on your camera if you want now.
No, it's saying that the host has disabled.
Oh, okay. I don't know why that's happening with you. All right, guys. So sorry for those of you just joining us. We're dealing with this in a second. Cyprian, we're going to do the same thing with you. I hope you're there. Cyprian. All right, Unboxed Africa.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm going to make you the host. Please just do the same thing. Try put your camera on like Naitemu did. Then you can give it back to me, and then yes, we can start. All right, so I'm making you the host. So put on your camera and then give it back to me while your camera is on. You are the host now. There we go. So you can give me back don't switch off your camera.
Just a minute. How do I make you the host now?
Just go to my name, click more, and make host. All right, we're on. So Cyprian, I hope you're there. You're the last one on. I want to do the same thing with you. Cyprian, are you there? Cyprian, just confirm if you're there. We want to start. Okay. All right, guys, as we're waiting for that, I am just going to begin the conversation. Yeah, so welcome. Sorry for the rough start. My name is Tomide. I will be your moderator for this conversation. And as you've seen, we'll be talking about visual arts in a visual world. We have an awesome group of guys over here who they will introduce themselves. Sorry if we have issues with the cameras for some of them, but yeah, it's going to be an exciting conversation. So I think we'll just start with the guests that we have here. Naitemo, the floor is up to you. Yeah, just introduce yourself. Let us know what you do. Briefly, we'll move across with the panelists and we'll start this conversation. You're muted.
Sorry. Thank you, Tomide. I'm Naitiemu and really glad to be here today to share some artsy conversations with all of you. I'm an artist by profession. I'm a material artist, performance artist, and an artistic director. I work as part of Nairobi Design Week, which is a platform that offers the community. It's a platform for communities to share design and art and everything that people are creating to make a difference within our society right now. Really glad to be here. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Unboxed Africa, I'm sure that's not your name. So you just introduce yourself, let us know what you do, and then we'll take it from there. You're muted.
Hi, I am Gerald by name. I am the creative director at Unboxed Africa. I'm an entrepreneur and an art lover at short.
All right, awesome. So I know we'll be diving into a lot more of what you do. Tosh, can you introduce yourself as well? I know you're not, yeah, just briefly introduce yourself and then we'll move on to Cyprian and we will start our conversation.
So hi, I'm Tosh, and I collect art, and I just love the art community, especially the Nairobi art scene. So I attend a lot of galleries, exhibitions, and we started this last year, whereby we are trying to build a community around art collectors, artists, and just everybody who's involved in that field. Yeah, so that's me.
Awesome. Thank you. And last but not least, Cyprian, I hope you're here with us. You can just introduce yourself and we shall start the conversation.
Hi guys, sorry, I'm having issues with my connection here, but can you guys hear me?
Yes, I can.
Perfect. So yeah, my name is Cyprian Kiswili. I'm an artist, designer also by profession, and I'm glad to be here. Maybe we'll talk more about the art later, but I am like illustrative kind of an artist and product designer as well. Glad to be here.
Awesome, fantastic. All right, so yes, I am going to introduce myself. My name is Tomide. I am a creative. I'm involved in the digital marketing space. I am also an artist, and I'm also involved in the music space. But above all, I am really just passionate about creatives and helping creatives, maximize their potential to get to where they want to go. So this is a very interesting conversation. For those of you that don't know, we actually did this thing last year, but we had a physical event. Some of the guys who were here were at that event, but now it's 2021 and look at us, we're doing this thing on Zoom. So that should probably give you guys a hint of, the kind of conversation we're going to be having, because everything has changed. Everything has changed. And in 2020, we realized that, a lot of systems we thought were in place to support us as artists and creatives weren't as solid as we hoped they would be. So let me just paint a picture. It's 2019. There's a creative, maybe an artist who is about to, make a very, very big break in their career. They've gotten gigs, set up for 2020. They have made fantastic networks. They are going to showcase in galleries here and there. And it looks like 2020 is going to be a very, very good year. And then 2020 comes and Corona shows up. And all the things that you had in place to set you up and to sustain you as an artist are gone. Now, I'm painting this picture because for some of you guys that are here, this is probably, you can relate with this, either personally or you might know a few people who found themselves in this predicament. And that's really where I want to start from. And I'll start with you, Naitemo. How was your 2020? Let me understand, how was your, how did you approach 2020? And when 2020 hit with the pandemic, what did that do to you as an artist? Yes, over to you.
Thank you for the introduction. First, I see there's a comment that someone says they can only see me and not the rest of the people involved. Felix says that. Could you perhaps make all of us visible?
Yes, I've changed that. Felix, can you see it? And if you can't see them on your phone, you can just scroll. If you're using your phone, at times it doesn't show everyone. It only shows people speaking. Okay. All right, he's on the PC. All right, so you can see both of us. Yes, the rest, they have camera issues, but I think we can proceed. All right, over to you.
Thank you. So 2020 has been a different year for all of us, for sure. For me, has been different. We never thought we'd be facing a worldwide pandemic, but here we are. And as humans, we adapt. That's what we do. We adapt and we adapt creatively. So I remember when the onset of COVID-19 happened, we were just on the final day of Nairobi Design Week Festival. That was, we did it from March 8th to 13th, I think, because that was a Saturday that we were supposed to close everything. We were working on a music video on a song and music video called Labeled Human. And we'd expected on that final day to have so many people so that we can show all that activity happening in the music video. And that's not the case. So we solved it creatively and still managed to do like a really dope video, and you can check it out. It's called Labeled Human. And that was the beginning of closure. So after that, I haven't had much of, I've still done physical exhibitions, but by sending my work to the exhibition spaces, but not much of it. I've learned to grow a lot digitally. Luckily enough for me, I'd intended for 2020 to be a year where I really grow artistically in film, in art direction, in digital world, basically. So being in that position where you have no other option was all right for me, because I really got deeper into understanding how to work with other ways of creating. I learned how to do animations, more film, and also being in Nairobi Design Week offers a platform where we can communicate with so many different creatives. So we had loads of Zoom meetings and pushed our agendas digitally. It's just different, it's not been the same, but it's been different, and we've learned a lot from these situations. So yeah, participating also, it gave me a platform to really also connect with more people outside of my normal circles in a way, because I was able to really have these virtual connections with people from different countries, be involved in art creations from different countries. For example, I participated in Traveling Corona Art, which was basically a group of women artists who came together from different countries, from different continents, and we want to create work that can travel from one continent to the other. It's still ongoing, and it's something really exciting. Yeah, so these cons and pros for the COVID-19 pandemic, but I think I'm adapting to it, and that's good. Yeah, we also did events that were online, such as African Crossroads event, which was all about Pan-Africanism. And I got to really meet creative people from, Nigeria, South Africa, and different parts of Africa and the world, and interact with them creatively. I learned about sound, I learned about the traditions of different people, And it was really insightful for me. I can say it's been a bit tricky because you cannot really meet people physically, and there's that touch that is kind of lost at some point. But it's better not to, if the other option is to infect each other, right? Yeah. So let's just keep each other safe.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. And just to, add, the reason why it's very important to hear what 2020 was like for you is that you find out that a lot of times, you people will look at artists like yourself and be like, oh, maybe you had it together before the pandemic hit. But I think one thing that's very, very common is that everyone was affected, and it's really, really nice to see how people have, made that pivot to survive. All right, before we move on, also, let me go to you, Cyprian. I wanted you to just give us an overview. How was 20 like for you? And the reason why we're doing this is because it's very important for us over here and listeners to kind of understand how we dealt with that pandemic. A lot of people are different. I know of artists who have been stuck since the pandemic happened because their bread and butter have been exhibitions, but all the exhibitions that they were, going to be a part of have closed, So Cyprian, tell us, for you, how did you approach 2020? How was that like for you?
Well, 2020 was a bit, I would say, of a roller coaster for me. Started really well. I remember the past 2 months were like, of me as an artist trying to opening myself up to ideas of visiting more galleries, viewing more art, because as much as I'm an artist too, I love to see what other artists create. And so this was going to be the year that I was going, being involved in the Kenyan art community. And so bit of a challenge there, especially in the third month during March when, Corona just hit us and everything looks like it's changing. But just as my term says, I tend to look also at the positive because I was able to, take a step back and try and just see like, hey, is the challenge. So how are we going to, continue creating, continue being creative during these strange times? And so, of course, with health also being a concern. And so, yeah, was able to, engage in different media. I think during that time where it was like an indoor kind of time where, everyone was just not much movement around. And so for me, that really worked well because as much as I also, create, I'm also involved in some other design activities. And so as a creative, this was a time for me to like, hey, what different media can I try to, try and be consistent because I had, reached somewhere in my career as an artist and as a designer in the last year, that is 2019. And so in a bit to keep the consistency, of course, some plans have to change. And looking at it, I would say in my brief study about art history and creative world is that it's really grown. It's a more robust art market right now than it was around 20 years ago. And so faced with this challenge, I thought I took that as some positive because this has come at a time when there are newer avenues of expression. Say like we have technology, we have the internet, and so how can we use these platforms to grow ourselves as artists and also our careers and well. And so the beauty of it is that I don't think there's ever going to be a world where it is entirely digital, but the digital type of market has really shaped up recently. And so I found myself trying different media.
Sorry,
like,
Cyprian, sorry to
trying
interrupt you. Can you raise your voice a
open
bit?
ideas.
You're not that clear. Sorry to cut you. Sorry to cut in.
Oh,
Yes.
sorry. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, I thought my device was far from me. Yeah, so I was saying, yeah, this was of course a year that I was going to try out different media and try and see how far I could get in my bid to keep the consistency. And so I found myself trying out something new like digital art in some. This was some competition also last year, and trying out some, just different medias in my art. And this was, I think, mainly a result of the indoor period for me in the very first 4 months of the year 2020. And so for me, it really was a year of bit of self-discovery and trying to see how much could I go in terms of my my journey in art, and how far I could push my creativity. And so for me, I chose to take it really positively. I've also been able to engage with a different kind of audience, I would say, in the digital world, especially because during that time I was also got some chance to engage with a few of other artists from around, mostly around Africa, and this has really shaped my creative circle, as well as how I tend to engage from a brand perspective, how I tend to engage with my audience, or rather my buyers. And so it's really been a roller coaster of a year, but it was really a beautiful year in terms of self-discovery, new media for me.
All right, thank you so much. Awesome. Last but not least, Gerald, just an overview of 2020 for yourself, and you can give us a bit more information about what you do, because I know that you run a platform. So yeah, floor is on you.
Thanks so much. It seems I have a video issue on my side, but I can still continue with audio. The year 2020 was a very interesting year, per se, to me as a person, and also to Unboxed, because funny enough, we launched Unboxed, let's say on the 28th of Feb, and now 1 week going into now starting things, COVID starts. So you can understand that was a very hard way to start a business, that you and it's a business that needs human interaction, and that's what the world lacked at that point. So in terms of even doing a business that needs human interaction, and yet you can't do any human interaction at that point, because it was everything locked down. The several months that came by was, you can't really do anything. But I can say generally it was an eye opener. Yeah, we had planned of, we as Unboxed, we most of our things were supposed to be digital, but you still can't do much digital in terms of art, because at the end of the day you still have to get contact with the art. So that was hard. So even if you do a lot of things online, at the end of the day art is still something that is tangible. So at the end of the day, because it's a feeling, so at the end of the day you need an audience to feel it. So generally 2021 was a very 2020 was a very eye-opener year, and I would say it was a very difficult year for the industry at large, for everyone, as an artist, as an organizations that even are established in the industry, for galleries. All of them were at a very difficult point, but at least with that difficulty, I think we all learned one or two things on how to cope now and to the future. So yeah.
Thank you so much. Gerald, I had made you the host. Can you please put your camera on? Then you give it back to me. Really sorry about this. We're having that technical issue. So you can, exactly, then you can make me the host again and just keep your cam on. All right, Sawa. You can give me the host. There we go. Fantastic, guys. Thank you so much. Now, the reason why I wanted us to do this, I've taken a number of notes. I think you guys have set the stage very, very well. One of the things that I'm getting is that 2020 made all of us look into avenues and areas that we didn't think we would be in. So for example, Naitemu, you've explained that you actually entered new media. You started learning how to do, you started exploring other avenues you didn't have before. We're getting the same thing for, even from Cyprian. Gerald, you had started a business that was art related, and then now the pandemic comes and all of a sudden we have to switch. Now, the thing is this, one of the things that I loved about the pandemic, and I'll explain why I'm using that word love, is that I feel it neutralized the world. What do I mean by that? For the first time, everyone in the world was going through the exact same thing we were going through. So a guy in Lagos is experiencing the same thing as somebody in Kisumu. Somebody in, Qatar is going through the same thing as somebody in LA. For the first time, like everyone, every industry was experiencing the exact same thing. So the problems that we're bringing up here are not unique to Kenya. It's an industry thing. But one of the things that did is that I feel 2020 kind of started to create it created a scenario whereby now you had to stand out a bit more. Before you could get away without not being in the spotlight, not being online and everything. But now all of a sudden, your brand matters, right? People want to hear about what you're doing. All the opportunities are online. So Naitemu, you've talked about, African Crossroads. In fact, things I've not even heard about before, really, really cool stuff, traveling Corona art, right? So many opportunities came out. But you see now, before this forum came up, when I was told about all of the people that are going to be on, I simply just went to Instagram to see what, okay, let's see what Naitemu does. Let's see what Cyprian does. That's the world we live in today, right? So my question, and it's open to anyone, what is the importance of a personal brand? Because clearly what 2020 has shown me and shown every industry is that now in the world that we're about to enter, in this new age that we're living in, that is now being disrupted by things like the pandemic, your online presence is much more important than it was before, because you could have had gallery, for those of you who used to make your bread and butter through physical engagements and everything, but you can't do that again. The truth is 2020 showed us that we have to figure out new ways to do things. So the floor is open to any one of you. What is the importance of not just a brand, but a strong artistic brand? Because at the end of the day, you are not who you say you are. You are who people say you are. So floor is open, any one of you. What is the importance of a strong artist brand? Maybe we can start with you, Naitemu.
Yeah, it's been really important for any artist to think of creative and new ways of representing our works. Personally, I've had to, I was still active on social media, but really 2020 defined a lot more activity and ways to reach people. So a strong artist brand, I'd say for me, there's this question that I always ask myself when I work on any project. That's why, how, and what. Why am I doing what I'm doing? How will I do it? And what actually is it? What actually am I doing? So once I answer those questions, I think they kind of help me define my project and in a way brand, each separate project and overall myself as an artist. So branding as an artist is very important because how you reach, it's the people. I create work not just for myself, but also for the people who are receiving it. My art is, once people appreciate it, then I feel that I'm actually doing something and I'm continuing to do something of importance. So I'd say one must really, be yourself. I think my number one thing is I like to be myself, and being myself is very many things. I like to be authentic and not limit my creativity to only one direction, because there's so many things that I think about and there's so many things that I wanna let out. But how do I do that? So it's more like finding these connections, these people you can talk to. Networking is very important when branding yourself. And networking can be done in many ways, especially now that we are online. There's various ways people network from websites like, Gerald, thank you for Unboxed Africa. We worked together last year and even this year, and it was a platform where we were able to share art, and Gerald shared it through Unboxed Africa. So such platforms, we have platforms such as I work in Nairobi Design Week, and we really love to show work by different creatives. And that's another way of being able to reach other people. So it's by finding these little networks or bigger networks that will enable you to reach more people, and applying for opportunities. There's so many opportunities that have risen from the past and even grown more in 2020 that enable one to be able to reach a greater market. So I applied for an exhibition in London, which I got it this February, which happened in this February. So that was a really good opportunity for me to be able to reach a bigger audience that I'm not used to. And I feel these are opportunities that anyone can get if only you put your mind to it and work on it properly. So yeah, branding is all about being yourself, I think, for an artist. Just don't be afraid of being yourself.
I want to ask you a question, Naitem, before I even go to Gerald. So you talked about this whole opportunities. In fact, now what we're getting from this is how in this new age that we're living in, you can explore opportunities beyond your geographic location. But my question to you is this. You did say that you were active on social media before. Do you think the opportunities that you were able to capitalize on would have been possible if you did not have some sort of solid online presence or have some sort of solid online brand? Because you see, I'm listening to you and I'm thinking, okay, do you think from your own point of view that if you had not capitalized on, social media and really putting yourself out there on the online space, you would have been able to maximize on such an opportunity? Or do you think such opportunities would have been there regardless of your presence online?
I think the online presence is important, and I think it helps boost such opportunities, because currently the world we're living in, people, if someone asks for my work, I'll guide them to my website or my Instagram, where I'm mostly active. I even want to be more active on such platforms such as TikTok, because I feel like it offers an opportunity for artists to really grow and be creative in many ways. I love seeing people's works and how people present themselves. And online is more like an exhibition space, I think it doesn't have to be physical. It's like an online exhibition where people get to meet and interact more directly actually with the audience, in that I can share my process, I can document myself. I've found documentation being a very, very important aspect of my art, and actually even more important than the final product itself. Just finding a way to connect with people in a way that I want you to understand my work from how it begins to how it ends, and not just see it as a final piece as you would see in an exhibition space. So online spaces are important. For me as an artist, I'd say it's very important, especially now. So it's boosted my capacity to reach a lot more people.
Thank you so much for that. I was just about to get to you, Gerald. But as we're waiting for him, you really, there's something that I felt was so powerful. The whole documenting thing. And I feel like a lot of times artists have like a block with social media because they're wondering what they have to do. But what I'm even getting from this is that just a simple process of documenting who you are as a person, documenting your process, documenting what you're doing, that's actually enough to give you enough presence on the internet and actually make your brand much more solid, that can now eventually create opportunities like the one that you received. So Gerald, I'll move to you on the same thing. With regards, what you're doing with Unboxed Africa, clearly it is an online related business, right? So from your point of view, especially in light with the pandemic, what would you say, what has the importance of creating a solid brand? Because now I remember when you guys just began, I think Tosh over here shared with me some stuff about Unboxed Africa. And all of a sudden now, my time with Nairobi Design Week, you guys have already worked together. So for you, what would you say the importance has been of kind of creating a solid online presence for your business to actually help you engage with your community? You're muted.
Thank you for your question. I'll say this in terms of an online presence, and this is both to a brand like Unboxed and both to an artist. At some point, it's like your CV. I'll give a point. I'll give a like if you
You're breaking a bit.
even if when you're applying for a grant that is I'm saying when you even tend to apply for a grant, let's say in Europe or in wherever you find the opportunity, one of the biggest things that these people will ask you is, can you share your socials? Can you share your LinkedIn? Can you share your Instagram? If that's what they ask for, do you have a website? So I will say that in terms of in the creative industry, that's our first point of CV. That's your first point of CV. So you will obviously you will create your artist profile or your CV, but the first point of your CV as an artist or as a person in the creative industry, it will be a social media platform.
Thank you.
So
Thank you. Sorry. Continue, yeah.
So I'd say it's the most fundamental thing that any artist should have, and it's a tool that they should use to their best.
All right, thank you so much. Cyprian, same thing, over to you. I know you also have quite a solid online following as well. So what has been the importance of capitalizing on your your online brand, basically, in light with the pandemic and everything?
Yeah, thanks. I totally agree with the other speakers on branding. And I look at branding as something that has been mentioned maybe before as something associated with, the big companies, businesses, or, just entities trying to sell products or services. And then I try to link it to the creative world, that is the art. And I also see that this is something that is also very key in that, because the visual art, of course, is also very competitive. And as an artist, you'll always want to be out there, trying to push your art, whatever you create out there, trying also to sell it, especially if you are, just an artist. And so artists are now trying to begin to, just to grab attention of some art collectors or art buyers, or just, just trying to draw the net and see what they can get. And so I believe building, a brand that is true to yourself as an artist, that is kind of trustworthy, is really critical, because there's greater connection with people who who consume art and artists, whenever, because if the relationship is more of I would say trustworthy, if they can be able to understand the style of the artist, maybe the materials that the artist uses, and a bit probably of the history of the artist as well, there is a greater connection in that. And so branding for me basically is just trying to connect yourself with the potential art buyers or consumers of art. And so especially during our times, and this has been, I think, highlighted in the last year. It's something that is really critical because apart from, the personal engagement that you do probably in galleries or in meetups with other artists as well, there is the online opportunity, which is greater for me because I feel like you're able to connect with very many people or a bigger audience at once as compared to on a personal level. And so it's really important and really critical to maintain that consistency and that trustworthy in your brand, even in the online market.
Now, Cyprian, I want to just follow that up with something because I feel like you brought up a very, very important point. So you talked about how, the online space, we talked about it being a digital CV, and then you've linked it to the fact that now it has helped you connect yourself with consumers of art and buyers. Now, there are going to be a number of us here watching who probably are not sure about these opportunities. Naitemo, you've talked about an opportunity in London. Gerald, you're talking about grants, right? You're talking about all of these things. So my question to you guys are, fine, what is the online art market, right? Because a lot of people struggle in this area. You beef up your socials, you have your Instagram going on, and a lot of people maybe think that the only way they will sell online is probably with people DMing you about, oh, I want this piece that you have. But what really is the online art market? How does it exist? What is the structure that it operates on, and how can people capitalize and find these online art market opportunities that you guys have been beneficiaries of? I think we can even start with you, Cyprian, since you've talked about that. Where are these opportunities and what is this online art market?
Yeah, so for me, basically the online art market is really not that, it's not that complicated. I tend to see it as, the stakeholders being probably the potential buyers that you're trying to engage, the online audience that you have, fellow artists, of course, that it's really important to connect with and, get to improve yourself as an artist through the connections. And just as you mentioned, there are also other opportunities such as, the collaborations, the grants. And so I believe the market is not something that I could really point at and say this is it, but it's really, I would say, a collection of very many processes and very many engagements between I as the artist and, people who are engaged with on a daily basis or, through online. Other artists, art buyers, collectors, people love to collaborate with, and generally the online audience.
Okay, thank you. Naitemo, you want to chip in on that?
Sure. The online art market, I feel, is broad. It's quite broad, and it's just a matter of seeing what can you do as an artist to get in those different platforms, because I think there's a higher probability of getting opportunities if you try, more than one thing. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. So there are websites that actually support selling of art by artists and also connecting artists. For example, certain websites such as like Artsy, we have local ones like Candy Art. These are places where people can, as an artist, you can take your art and thereby widen your market. There are social places where people can interact and talk about themes and connect with people who are doing more or less the same thing, who you can collaborate with. I recently joined a social space called Clubhouse, and it's basically a place where people really talk about stuff, and I found it really interesting because I can now connect with different artists, not just artists, there's curators, there's people in the art world, in the design world, and many people who understand art in a wider angle, more than I know, and perhaps maybe we could work together and collaborate on stuff. So there's different opportunities that the online market offers. And also, as Gerald talked about, grants, those are important because when an artist has a creative idea and you have the finances for that creative idea, it becomes swift. It becomes put all your ideas in it. So the main issue would be, you have ideas, but maybe you don't have the materials to execute these ideas, yeah, because maybe at some point they're bigger than what you have at hand. So these grants help because such like British Council grants help, and also help to connect people, because mostly these grants, you'll find they're not like individual grants, they're like a group and you have to work on a project together. So this really enhances your thought process, in that working alone as an artist is not the same as when you're working with different people. There are certain skills you must enhance in collaboration that you probably will not have to do so much when you're doing alone. So these things really help. I think the online art market is broad. It's just a matter of really, and also there's this, you have to grow organically. You need to create a community that can understand you and can follow you also, and support you as you support them. So I find certain places like IG very convenient because it's easy to interact with people via IG. And sometimes it's people that which is nice because you can always like build up more friendship and get to know more people. I'm trying to get a bit more regular in my LinkedIn. So that's also another platform that I find very convenient for an artist. And it's something I need to, do more. So as I talked about, like platforms like TikTok is fun. And it's things we need to really think about as artists on how to be more active, not just to be in our comfort zones. Our comfort zone is more like, I'm in my studio, I'm gonna create, and that's it. I'm exploring my mind. But there are things that we need to be outside of our comfort zones. That's very important, like communication and connection with people. So that's what I feel the online art market offers. And there are several things that I've seen, like even in the last year, that have been really good in the art world, like online, what's it called, auctions and stuff like that. So there was one that was done by, was it Kiko Romeo? Yeah, and I participated in it. I may not have sold a piece then, but it was really nice to be able to see a platform that offers artists a place to communicate with the collectors, Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And I think last but not least, Gerald, and for me, I think this is very powerful coming from you because you operate from the business side as well. So what is this online art market? What's your take on that?
The online art market is something that is like very dear to what we do, because I can say it's like the core basis of where we are, where we do, or where we want to do what we want to do. But that being said, because it's a place where I've done a research on, maybe probably for the last 1 year now. And my findings, I will share a bit of what my findings are about the art market, the online art market. First of all, in terms of, because it's a market, because it's a market, you have buyers and you have sellers. So in terms of the sellers, I can say in Kenya or in East Africa, we have the best. I can say we have the best of the best what Africa has to offer in terms of the art that we do. It might not be a very vibrant artwork in terms of the name, because we have art that has come from Tokyo and China, and it's an Asian art. They'll classify it as Asian art. So even in let's say in Africa, we'll say it is African art, but we don't have there's no market to it. Let's say in East Africa. That being said, we have the sellers who have brilliant things, but now we come to the buyers. So the buyers are there. The buyers are collectors, galleries, I would say like what, uh, investment companies, NGOs, organizations. You have all these people that are your buyers, and your few other one or two persons who are your buyers. But then very difficult for them to now start transacting and buying art online because there are some few things that the market that hasn't put in place. One of the few things is how traceability of how good is that, how how the provenance of that art. How do you trace the art? How authentic is that artwork? What is the information of that artwork? What is the valuation of that artwork? So there's no there's no there's no structure into what online art is supposed to be. Talk about guys that are in Europe, and Netemo mentioned a good platform that is called Artsy. The the backbone of what the technology that these people use is technology that no other person in Kenya uses. So in terms of technology where Europe are and where we are from our research, we are like 10 years behind. Because these people use technologies from blockchain systems. Blockchain systems were there in 2006. In Kenya currently, we are not using such systems. One or two companies in banking systems, in agriculture, there are people that are using such systems. But without having such systems, uh, you will not have a vibrant art market. Yes, you will transact. Artists will put on uh, their work on their IG. They might get one. They might get sales from Instagram, but I can, from the research that I've gotten, I can assure you that most of this transaction that also goes on online has to have a physical meetup, because at the end of the day, the buyer can't really trace if this artwork is correct, if 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 if, uh, if your artwork is authentic, what's the information of this artwork. If on your Instagram you say this artwork is 21 by 34, is this person, does the buyer really know that this artwork, and you can't authenticate that artwork in terms of let's say the socials like uh, uh, Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok. So the market is there, but we haven't really defined on how we are going, how transparent is the online market. So in terms of us, that's something that we are currently working on. I can tell it has been the biggest challenge uh, to answer, but I can say generally the online market, even in Kenya, speaking just in Kenya alone, is well versatile, and it has the potential to grow. Now, if it has the potential to grow, it's upon us to work, as Netemu said, build a community that will understand that we need to do this as a collective to help each other. So as I try build this platform, I am building this platform so that it might also help you become socially and economically sustainable. So once we answer that as a collective, then maybe we will move forward in saying that we have a vibrant online art market.
What I like about what you've said, I think this is challenging traditional art thinking. The art industry has been built on individuals, and now we're hearing from what Naitemu is saying, the opportunities only come with groups. You've talked about the fact that things like blockchain. So you realize now there's a convergence between industries, technology and art. It's no more just about one side. So I want to now link this to what really is the importance of collaborations and forging partnerships, because from what I'm seeing from this conversation, there's so many areas partnerships can be formed. They can be formed on an artistic level, and as Naisemo has brought up, there's certain opportunities that you will not find and not have access to unless you work with other people. And then there's now the other partnerships of industries converging, where you have technology, you have, you talked about blockchain. And my background is actually in cybersecurity. And this stuff really fascinates me, just seeing how the convergence between very, very complex things. We always think about blockchain and think about it with Bitcoin, but blockchain is probably one of the most powerful tools in helping things that you've talked about, authentication, dealing with some of these issues that we have. So from your point of view, guys, what really is the importance of forming partnerships? And you can use your own, stories as an example. How has that helped you guys rise above the tide? And sorry, as we're on in this conversation, guys, if you have any questions, please feel free to put it in the Q&A. There's a Q&A tab on your screen, so you can just put them down. And once we wrap this up, we'll start tackling all the questions one by one. All right, so yeah, over to you guys. Naitemo, since your mic is here, you can just kick it off. Yeah.
I personally, I love collaborations. I feel like a great deal of my art has grown through collaborations. And I think it's very important for any artist to be able to collaborate with other people, and not just artists. You can collaborate with people from different fields, because I feel like art is more of a lifestyle than just a profession. It's about solving problems, and it's about thinking outside of the box, being unboxed, like Unboxed Africa. Anyway, so I feel collaborations have impacted me greatly, because one, from collaborations, I always tend to learn a new skill, because it gets me out of my comfort zones. It gets me out of my head to kind of really understand someone else's views and incorporate it in a bigger project, in a bigger platform. So collaborating with people has helped. For example, I remember in 2018, I managed to collaborate with Adele Dejac, who's a jeweler. So just be able to express jewelry in an artistic form, that was different for me, but it was really interesting to express myself in that way. And over the years, I've managed to collaborate with so many different groups, people, and I feel this has helped to grow opportunity, not just for myself. The pie is big for everyone, let's grow together. So that is one of the major things. And really looking at Africa and seeing, how can we get where we want to get to? We've had so many years of being colonized, so many years of being underrated, I think collaboration is the way forward. Being able to collaborate across Africa and across the world. So yeah, that's what I'd say mostly. And different fields, multidisciplinary. I look at art nowadays a lot in multi-sensory kind of approach, in that there's so many senses that are involved when you're creating art, and there's so many senses you want people to feel when they're actually interacting with that art piece. So being able to understand certain different ways, different mechanisms, science, mathematics, everything, physics, to be able to incorporate these feelings in the art, in the art world, is something very important. So I'm all in for collaboration and multidisciplinary approach to art.
Awesome.
And of course, there are so many opportunities that arise from this. As I said, a lot of grants will not look at an individual, but we look at a group. And a merge of science, technology, art, and design is something I've seen a lot going on now, and is a way I want to really enhance my thought process in that kind of direction.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. Cyprian, your thoughts on that? The power of collaboration and why it's important from your own point of view? Or if you're not, are you there? Gerald, either one of you can take it up.
Yeah.
I didn't realize I was on mute. Yeah, for me, collaborations is just as Naitemo says, is something that is really important. She also had a really good point about art and design being avenues of problem solving. And so in order to solve problems that we may face or creatively, we need to, it's not a 1 month job to, spot, do, all those other processes of solving a problem. And so there's usually a bit of interaction between different people at different levels of the problem. And so collaboration is really key in this, and especially also in the creative world, in the art world, because you are able to, approach any issue or any, anything that you may be on about, from different angles, and being able also to see it differently through, I believe, the people that you choose to collaborate with. So it's really I would say it's an integral part of the creative world.
Thank you, Gerald. Last but not least, in fact, you've created a platform for collaboration. So yeah, you look forward to hearing what you have to say.
So collaborations, I think, I'll say should be the core value of the arts industry. Why do I say this? It's because you can produce art, but you'll need a curator to share your artwork to other curators in the business. You will need an art professional, maybe who's a collector, and his work is about finance. That person will help you. So, as also I think, and that has been the biggest challenge also for us as Unboxed, because we have not been brought up in a culture that collaboration is our thing. We've been brought up in a culture that you go to school. It's like that's how it's. Like, for example, the guys who went to the 88844 system in Kenya. You are taught that you need to go to school, finish school, go to university, finish university, go to work. Go to work means an 8 to 5 job. So you can imagine, for someone who has been taught that your work has to be an 8 to 4 job. So where do you get time to now, if you're not a full-time artist, where do you get time now to start doing collaborations? And collaborations also take time, because they also take a bigger part of you. So and that's one thing that we lack, because also getting us together in a collective, and not in a collective that we are under this umbrella. We are collective that we are doing this for a certain cause. So I think the mission of collaboration is what we need to drive more as artists. It's not that we are under this umbrella, and I'll take that from maybe the mistakes that we did from the previous organizations that I worked with, that we taught, or the message that also we are telling artists is that we are doing collaborations under this platform, under this organization. But that's the mistake. We are doing this collaboration not under Unboxed, but this is the project. So the project is called X. We are doing this collaboration called X, not Unboxed who owns the collaborations. It is we are helping to maybe do the logistics of the project. So I think that's to understand also as artists creative, is that we are doing these collaborations not for particular brand. We are doing these collaborations for us to grow an industry. I can pick a good collaboration like the one BMW does. So BMW have a good collaboration that is called BMW Art and Culture. And if you look at the mission statement, that BMW is a car company, but they will take time at some point in the year and do collaborations with different kind of artists, and these artists will come and do great, amazing work on BMWs that were created in the 70s. BMW won't own these collaborations. These collaborations are not too much value to BMW, but because they grow a culture, that's where the value comes in. So in collaborations, we have to see what is the value that we are creating for each other, what is the core value that we need to create for each other, not for a particular brand or a particular organization or a particular group. So I think that's my take in terms of collaborations.
Thank you so much. This is a,
Tomide,
sorry, Natemo, yeah.
I think what Gerald said really caught me, because I feel like again, it's important to realize in a collaboration your part. What part are you playing? You know, like everyone has a role, and your role is given to you depending on your strengths. I believe I would ideally, where are you stronger at? Are you stronger at perhaps marketing for it? Are you stronger at perhaps, getting the materials, handiwork? Are you stronger at the digital illustrations? So I feel it is important for any artist to know, where am I contributing in this collaboration, so that you can make the work easier for everyone. So again, it's really important what he said, so that you can own the process also and feel part of it and not just under something. You understand? Yeah.
I think even just to add to what you said, I think it's so powerful that even though, we've talked about how 2020 allowed you guys to explore different mediums and things like that. I think now what you brought up, Naitem, is a very important point, that at the end of the day, as much as you can spread yourself, you need to know what strength you are going to leverage on. Because on the online space with opportunities, at that point in time, it's that key thing, that key element of your brand that people will need to strengthen collaboration. So as you've said, for example, if it's marketing, at that point in time, that becomes your greatest asset to the contribution of that thing. This has been a phenomenal conversation. And before we, give our closing remarks, I just wanted to, there's a really nice comment from Felix Tao here. He said, this is an example of collaboration. Exactly. Some people on the call might not have known about crypto art, which is popping in value and is essential to know about. Similar to how our generation knew about Adobe Illustrator was back in the day, crypto art is not going away. And yeah, I agree. Such forums like this is an opportunity for collaboration. And I think above all, it expands our mindset. We learn things. And the purpose of this forum, even in the first place, is so we can come here, pick a few things that can help us progress what we're doing. Well, we have a question here. And if there are any other questions here, you guys, please feel free to use the Q&A. And I'll just read it. And any one of our panelists can take this up. This is by Einstein Wafula, and he says, great forum. I appreciate being here. 2020 made me realize that jobs are fragile and being dependent on employment is not that sustainable. I have been an artist all my life as a pastime activity, but now I want to transition into doing it professionally and escape the 9-to-5. I do 3D modeling, digital painting, and animation. How do I go about this? And that is open to you panelists. Any one of you want to take that up?
Really good question, and really glad to hear someone wants to have a full, be a full-time artist, which I think is important for any artist. Sometimes, people tell you, get a job, do art during weekends. It's not enough. Art needs that time. It needs that thought process. It needs that it's an actual job, it's not just a pastime activity. So I feel, I'd encourage you to get in the online platforms, share your art in the online platforms. We are open as Nairobi Design Week. We have a directory that allows artists, creatives to sign in and share their works. So that's one place you can do that. I think Unboxed Africa also have such platforms where they let artists, they showcase artists' works. So those are little things you can do. Reach out to people. If you have mentors that you're looking up to, get in touch with them and have a conversation. Get to know their journey and see how best you can learn from them. Yeah, so it's not easy being a full-time artist, because there is that, you don't have that security of I'm gonna get paid every month, but it's a beautiful lifestyle because you get to do what you love every day. And in terms of getting that pay, it comes with time. It's something that we're all working on, but I think things are getting better and better, and people are starting to take creative industry a lot more seriously than they used to in the past. So I feel like it can only get better. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Anyone else want to add to that? Gerald or Cyprian?
I can say this to him. If you want to start it as an 8 to 5 job, and because this is also a question that we're trying to solve ourselves as an organization, is how an artist can be socially and economically sustainable, and do that craft as a full-time job. But you need also to find the fundamentals of the work. That means consistency also has to be the main thing of the game. So if you want to do this, you also need to have structures yourself as an artist. That's one. And you also have to have consistency as an artist. So without those two things, if you build on those two things, then the rest gradually will fall. But consistency and having a ground, having systems also as yourself as an artist, because you need to know that this is the mission of the day. I need to wake up, do these artworks. This time frame, I need to share these artworks to these people. This afternoon, I need to do emails. So it also has to be work for you. You also have to wake up, do emails, do calls, do the work, do branding, do marketing. So the same way other organizations do daily work, you also have to do daily work.
Fantastic. Thank you. Cyprian, I don't know if you want to add anything to that.
Yeah, I think much has been said about wanting to get into art industry fully, and I think I'll just say, yeah, this can really work out, especially if you're that person who's being sort of the box, like using the creativity to study the current visual art world, and trying to see how you can make your own kind of stand out or be different. The consistency also mentioned before is really key in just trying to make sure, and also being something that I also mentioned earlier on, being trustworthy, like being honest with yourself. So this is like just sharing your art journey throughout, and being because as an artist you're also growing with every day, in every piece that you or project that you undertake. So it's really important to stay true to yourself, and also keep the consistency, and try as much as possible to think out of the box. There are really many opportunities out there. Yeah.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, guys. And I think I can just add something to a question over there from Einstein. And I think for me, what I would just say, just take what we've learned from this forum and just put it in action. I think if all of us leave here and make a commitment that, you know what, my online brand is a big deal, and we decide to start putting ourselves out there and everything, and you start that journey, you'll be able to capitalize on that down the line. And I think, as they all said, you have to have that mindset that, the 9 to 5 is already happening with the work that you're doing as an artist, right? Get into that groove, and I think it will fall in place. So yes, guys, we have another question, not really a question. That's from Sirale, and she says, I would like to collaborate with Naitemo sometime. So Naitemo, we'll find out if yes. Yeah, so collaboration is happening right over here. Yes. Collaboration is happening. Yes, guys. So we've come towards the end of this, and I just wanted to, let our speakers give a last word. I love this conversation. There's so many things that I would love us to touch on, but we can't. For example, even just as we were talking, I was thinking about, there's so many areas for questions. What I mean is there's so many areas that I feel we would still love to dive in. For example, my fiance just brought it up to my memory. Things like copyright, for example. We're talking about visual arts. How are you guys dealing with those things? So my point is, there's so much to learn, and one forum can't definitely deal with it. But I think the important thing is that we just keep on building our capacity, learning about the industry, learning about what's happening, and yeah, put it to you. So you guys, the floor is yours. Any last words to our listeners today? Anything that you'd like them to leave with as they go about their day? We can start with you, Naitem.
Sorry, I was just in the middle of typing where people can reach me. You can reach me via IG at Naitiemu, and you can check out my website, naitiemu.com. Yeah, so I'm really happy to have had this conversation with all of you, and I feel it's been really insightful for me as an artist. We need more conversations. We need to get more people involved in these creative opportunities, or rather creative ventures, and make it normal that we can just sit down on any day and have talks. So I feel this has been important, and really happy for collaborations, man. Please reach out to me and we can talk more. Again, I wanted to inform people that we'll be having Nairobi Design Week Festival on the 20th of March. It's gonna be online, and we're really eager to share so much with you people. Yes, please. So we can talk more. I'm really open for conversations even after this. So I'll leave, reach me, DM me, anything, and we can talk.
Awesome, fantastic. Gerald?
I think I'll end by saying, as I can look in this panelist, or also, I'm assuming also the guys that who are listening to us, watching to us, are generally young people. So I will say that we are the future of what is the industry will look like. The industry of the arts scene also in Kenya is controlled by an older generation, let me say that. So moving forward, I'm assuming that we are the ones who will pick up the leadership in terms of what we are going to set pace in terms of other people behind. So let us keep on collaborating and speaking to each other. That way, we will create a sustainable ecosystem for the artists who are now and who are yet to come in the future.
Fantastic.
Thanks.
Not least,
let me just say thanks to you guys for organizing this. This was an amazing discussion of, and we get to learn a lot.
Thank you. Cyprian, last but not least.
Yeah, thank you so much for having us. It's been a pleasure. It's been a healthy discussion and great learning, opportunity for us all. I believe any one of us through engagement is also trying as much as possible to learn from each other. And so, yeah, I believe we should have more of this. It's been really beautiful. Don't really have anything to say, but something just that is stuck in my mind. I don't remember who said this, but there's this quote about that says we have art so that we shall not die of reality. Thank you so much.
Thank you guys so much. And I just want to just go over some of the cool things that very, very powerful statements that you guys said. And I want to make sure no one forgets that. We've learned, man, so much to unpack. We talked about, art is lifestyle and it's about solving problems. I think that was such a powerful statement. We need to start seeing art as more than just, a way of expressing yourself, but also seeing it broader and understanding that art can actually change the world. And one of the things that I learned following a guy like Steve Jobs was so bent on finding the place between the intersection between art and technology. And that's how Apple was born. So you can find ways to express your art to solve problems. And I think the more we focus on problem solving, all this Africa talk, trust me, with the people who are here, we are enough to solve the problems that we have in our continent, in our countries. Another powerful statement that brought up here is that we are the future of what the scene will look like. For me, that's a big one because I call myself a futurist. One of the things that I'm so passionate about is helping creatives and organizations see where the organization, where the world is going, where the industries are going. And the truth is, the future is being shaped by the things happening now. When we talk about the future, all the things that make up the future, no matter what device you're using, your phone, your gadget, no matter how new it was created yesterday. So the truth is, the things that will influence the world we're about to meet are the things happening right now. So yes, before we wrap it up, Tosh, you wanted to quickly give a word, and then I will just close on that. Tosh, I hope you're here. Okay, if he's not yet ready, I will just come a few highlights of mine that I wanted to point out. Tosh, are you here?
Yeah, so it's been a good and productive discussion, I think, for everyone. So I wanted first to apologize for Patrick Mukabi. He sent an apology quite late that he wouldn't make it. So that's why he was on the post and didn't manage to come. So I hope we can. Because most of you I met Naitemu online, and I think nowadays it's very easy to connect with people online because they are replying to their messages actually on the same day. If it was some time back, probably most people would respond after a day or two. So now I feel especially artists are quite receptive and they are looking at their inboxes quite fast, and it's easier to engage with them. So that's my closing remark.
All right, thank you. And just a couple of things I also wanted to point out as notes that I've taken from today, and also adding my own input. In summation, I think one of the key things that I would like all of us here to leave with, based on what our facilitators have said, is really, when you talk about branding, it's about who you are. So who are you? That's a very, very important question. I think we need to answer. Who are you? And from that, being authentic to yourself, being authentic to your brand. Because at the end of the day, when we talk about putting yourself online, you're just showcasing who you are. It's a reflection of who you are. So I think it's important that we leave here knowing that, when we talk about digital marketing online, it sounds very, very complex, but all we're saying is be yourself, put that out. And I think another key thing that I've picked up from, our panelists that is so important is our ability to understand the industry. I think I'm like a social scientist. I love deciphering industries in the creative space, from music to art, and understanding how it works together. And I think it's very, very important. When Gerald was talking about the buyers, collectors, investment companies, there's so many stakeholders that make things work. Naitemo over here with Nairobi Design Week, there's so many stakeholders that make the industry work. And I think it is your responsibility as an artist to know your industry. No one can do that for you. It is your responsibility to know your industry, understand how it works. And I think last but not least, understand who your audience is. There's something Naitemo brought up that I love, she said, about LinkedIn. A lot of artists shy away from LinkedIn because you're like, that is for guys who wear suits and, the 9 to 5. No, it's very, very important to get out of your comfort zone and push yourself out there. I'm very passionate about this because a lot of my stuff is in digital marketing. And I want you guys to leave with what, I don't know, was it Naitemo or Gerald said, that all these platforms, it's like an exhibition, right? It's just another place for you to put yourself out there. and they work different ways. They have different audiences. So I think I would love to encourage all of us to be a bit more than an artist. Let's try and understand more about these things and just see how we can apply that to our life. Because I believe where the world is going, the artists that are going to stand out are not just those who are good, with their skill, but they're those who are good at positioning themselves. And for you to position yourself, there's a level of understanding you have to have about the industry and about the scene, So yes, that is my own 2 cents. But once again, thank you guys so much for this. This has been very insightful. And please make sure you follow the speakers. You guys can put your Instagram handles over here. And yes, I look forward to connecting with, our panelists here and you guys as well. So thank you guys. This was a collaboration between Tosh, myself, Artsy Valentine, and yeah, it's just been fun. It's just been fun, and we have your details now, so we're going to definitely have more of these things, and we can make sure that this is not just a one-stop conversation. Like we can have more things, because trust me, I have like 3 pages of notes, and so yeah, this was an amazing thing. Thank you guys. Thank you all. Have a great day, and happy Valentine's. Yeah, so take care.
Happy Valentine's. Bye-bye.